The Checkpoint is presented by GM Pharma, the first international multinational pharmaceutical company in Georgia. GM Pharma, to serve those who need it most.
The State Tourism Agency of the Republic of Azerbaijan organized a meeting in Georgia where combined tours, products and plans for long-distance travelers between these countries were discussed. As part of the recently launched Azerbaijan-Georgia combined travel project, travelers from the target countries including China, Japan, Indonesia, Malaysia, the United States, Canada, and some European countries will travel to Georgia and Azerbaijan through special combined tours. Forbes, the iconic business information brand that convenes and curates the most influential leaders driving change, and Magnum Opus Acquisition Limited, a publicly traded special purpose acquisition company, announced a $200 million strategic investment from Binance, one of the world's largest cryptocurrency and blockchain infrastructure providers. The World Bank is working on a new approach to measuring the business and investment climate in economies after its previous flagship report, known as Doing Business, was cancelled last year following an outside audit that concluded data were manipulated. The development lender is seeking input for the new project with the working title Business Enabling Environment to take into account the views of experts and potential users in government, the private sector, and civil society, the World Bank said on its website. The project will be led by the same development economics global indicators group that produced Doing Business. The Finance and Budget Committee of Georgia's parliament has elected Gogi Meshveliani as the deputy chairman of the committee. The candidacy was nominated by the ruling party Georgian Dream with the quota of the parliamentary majority. This is the Checkpoints. I'm Elena Gachechiladze and we are ready to start. This week, changes took place in the government of Georgia. Minister of Economy and Sustainable Development Natia Turnava resigned. She was replaced by the Minister of Agriculture Levan Davitashvili, and Otar Shamugia, Deputy Agriculture Minister, took on Davitashvili's post. Prime Minister Irakli Garibashvili presented the renewed cabinet of ministers at a briefing in the government administration. It is a great honor and responsibility for me to serve my country with a very strong team and contribute to the development of both the environment and agriculture, said the newly appointed Minister of Environment and Agriculture, Otar Shamugia. Shamugia thanked the Prime Minister for his trust. Shamugia graduated from the Sohomi branch of the Ivane Javakhishvili Tbilisi State University, Georgia. He is an economist with a degree equivalent to a postgraduate qualification. Shamugia replaced Levan Davitashvili, who became the Minister of Economy and Sustainable Development. The newly appointed Minister of Economy, Levan Davitashvili, thanked the Prime Minister for the trust and support of the team when it was necessary for the implementation of reforms in the Ministry of Agriculture. He also thanked the former Minister of Economy, Natia Turnava, and noted that she had a difficult time as a minister. The pandemic changed the economic situation of the whole world and created special challenges in terms of economic development. Under the leadership of the Prime Minister and the great efforts of the Ministry of Economy, we could create economic recovery and return to the pre-pandemic levels. However, we have very big tasks, plans and commitments with our population to show rapid economic development, to create maximum employment opportunities for our citizens, which is directly related to increasing their incomes and improving their welfare, said Davitashvili. Natia Turnava left the position of Minister of Economy and Sustainable Development, but as she said, she still remains a member of the ruling party, Georgian Dream. Turnava said she wanted to change the field and try herself in another sector. These have been difficult years, but most importantly, a very solid foundation has been laid for our economy to recover and grow rapidly. Now comes a period of new initiatives, new challenges. I'm sure that Levan Davitashvili, with his dedication, experience and professionalism, professionalism, will manage everything at a very high level and will be one of the successful ministers of economy, Turnava said. As for the future plans of the ex-minister, Natia Turnava promised to share news soon. We will see several directions. First, it is not specific when there will be a final decision. I will inform the public. Thank you, the media, for keeping us in the center of attention and keeping me in shape, Turnava said. Natia Turnava has been the Minister of Economy and Sustainable Development of Georgia since April 18, 2019. From September 14, 2018, she held the post of Deputy Minister in the same ministry. Turnava has extensive work experience in a wide range of fields, including government and private management, macroeconomic and social research and analysis, monitoring and evaluation, project design and management, public relations and advocacy. The same day, Prime Minister of Georgia, Archil, appointed Otar Daneli as business ombudsman. The head of government stressed that assisting business is a priority of the Georgian government and the sector will have maximum support as business development is a prerequisite for economic growth and job creation. The Prime Minister gave specific instructions to the business ombudsman, noting the importance of open cooperation with business, fewer barriers, and as little bureaucracy as possible. The importance of maximizing business access to public services was also highlighted. Otar Daneli served as the first Deputy Minister of Economy and Sustainable Development, while Nino Gachechiladze, the Deputy Business Ombudsman, was acting Business Ombudsman of Georgia. Now, the main question is, what will these changes actually bring for Georgia's business community and consumers, citizens, and the SME sector in particular, the ones with less leverage and more problems due to the pandemic, being in our focus of the weekly news bulletin, which our reporter Natia Taktakishvili has kindly put together for today's The Checkpoints.
Bias wine will be sold in China as Gachechiladze, the founder of the company, told BMG. 1,200 bottles will be sent for export at the first stage, and the quantity will increase according to the demand. We will export 1,200 bottles to China. In addition, we are negotiating with Denmark, and in the near future we will export up to 6,000 bottles on that market. Export opportunities are very important for small production like ours, both in terms of sale and promotion, said the founder of Bias Wine. The winery is located in Baghdati and its annual production capacity totals to about 80,000 bottles of wine. Products are exported in 15 countries, including Singapore, South Korea, Japan and the USA. The winery owns a total of 80 hectares of land area, although the full part of the production hasn't been developed yet. As for the price, Bias Wine is sold at $9 on the international market. Georgian freight forwarding company Cargon is planning to enter the Central Asia market, as Gachechiladze, the founder of the startup, told BMG. Cargon service will be available in Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan at the first stage. Our plan is to enter the Central Asia market. Cargon will be available in Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan at the first stage. We think that company will implement this plan for the second quarter of the year, said the founder of Cargon. Cargon is an online freight forwarding solution which connects shippers and carriers. This company already operates in Russia and Armenia. Cargon has a total of 300 B2B users. During these 2 months operation in Armenia, the startup has accumulated up to 200 partner carriers. Cargon service is used by 25 companies. Restaurants Black Lion, Nina's Garden, Cafe Leila increased prices by 20%. As Gachechiladze, the founder of restaurants, told BMG, prices hiked due to the rising costs on the raw materials and utility bills. According to her, utility bills were significantly increased in the last 2 months. Gachechiladze noted that the restaurants' revenues decreased by 30% in 2021 compared to 2019, while there was a 70% decrease in 2020 compared to the pre-pandemic levels. Georgian wine-sewn jewelry we exported in Estonia, namely in Tallinn, after France and Ukraine. As Tamuna Abuladze, the founder of Wine Diamond Emotsio Wines, told BMG only several dozen pieces of jewelry are sent to the market due to the limited collections, but the increase in quantity is being considered in the near future. According to her, negotiations are underway with the United States and Italy. The company plans to enter these markets by the end of 2023. Wine Diamond and Emotsio wines appeared in the market amid the pandemic. Jewelry prices range from 80 to 320 Lari. Marneulu Food Factory will add a new line of jams from June this year. New products will be made from berries. As Gachechiladze, director of company, told BMG, the new production line will be a novelty for the company and products will be put into test mode at the first stage. Marneulu Food Factory produces a total of 60 types of products. The company is operating on the market since 2007 and processes 30,000 tons of products annually. 80% of company's products are sold on the local market, while 20% is exported. Revenues of construction company Teresa Group increased by 57% in 2020 compared to 2019. The value of apartments sold in 2019 amounted to $14,151,000 USD, while in 2020 this figure exceeded $22 million USD. As for 2021, the company's commercial director Tako Kaprindashvili declares that last year the company has managed to maintain all the figures. She notes that in the last 2 years, prices for Tbilisi projects increased by 80%. Rising prices for building materials alone don't determine our pricing policy. Price adjustment was made due to the amended regulations in 2019 and tightened permit requirements. The price increase has been gradual during 2 years and we did not have a dramatic instant growth, she said. Peel Naturals will make the first export in the near future. As the founder of the company told BMG, they are holding active negotiations with Dubai, Iraq, Spain and Germany. According to her, in addition to the international markets, there is a growing demand on the local market. The brand of body care product Peel Naturals has 10 branches throughout Georgia. It should be noted that the company will soon open another new facility in Tel Aviv. Peel Naturals produces a total of 350 types of hair care products. In addition, the company has added grapeseed products to the cosmetic line. Aptos, a manufacturer of unique medical yarns used in plastic surgery, plans to increase the number of export markets to 90 by 2022. At present, the company operates 3 enterprises in Georgia, Germany and Russia. The products of the last 2 enterprises are already presented in 83 countries. General Director of the company, Giorgi Sulamanidze, told BMG that the company has already received the necessary certificate for importing the products to the United States and now they are waiting for the certification for importing the products to Brazil and China. Aptos medical fibers are currently sold in Europe, Arabia, the CIS and Asia. Although this year the company plans to export additional products to Philippines, Japan, Korea and several other countries. Eyebrow correction with Aptos threads costs over €2,000, while the cost of one pack of Aptos yarns ranges within €200-300.
Here is one more business story from our partner company, GM Pharma, who has shown a high level of corporate responsibility during the pandemic and distributed medicine to help kids with high temperature at children's clinics free of charge.
Due to the complicated epidemiological situation caused by COVID-19 and other seasonal respiratory viral diseases, GM Pharma has decided to help those who need it the most. Therefore, the company provided humanitarian aid in the form of medicines to pediatric clinics throughout Georgia. Due to the epidemic situation in the country, the number of febrile respiratory diseases has increased, especially among children. It should be emphasized that unfortunately, the disease is often accompanied by uncontrollable fever. Therefore, there is a shortage of certain medicines. We greatly appreciate the assistance provided by the company GM Pharma in the treatment of children. The company delivered a certain amount of antipyretic drug called Tycold, the main active ingredient of which is paracetamol. paracetamol, which has been a great help to our children patients. At this stage, GM Pharma has supplied pediatric hospitals in Tbilisi and the regions of Georgia with the required number of antipyretic drug called Tycold in various forms. I would like to thank GM Pharma for providing us with a large quantity of a paracetamol-containing drug called Tycold, which comes in two forms, suppositories in the form of candles and syrups. As you know, in the case of Omicron variant of COVID, as well as other respiratory diseases, sore throat, ear infection, or general discomfort is treated with first-line drugs. We're talking about a pain reliever drug that functions as an antipyretic drug and has a much faster effect than drops and sprays. GM Pharma is the largest pharmaceutical company in the South Caucasus region located in Tbilisi. This is where the latest technologies are used to produce a complete cycle of solid forms of medicines. GM Pharma exports more than 100 products to 10 countries around the world and has representative branches in 5 CIS countries.
Gachechiladze, my former co-host and CEO of BMG, will join me in just a few minutes here. His focus being on a big, well-established business that is partnering with many startups and SME businesses as well. In the fast-paced modern world of rapidly commodifying banking products, the features of which remain relatively similar, smart strategies are the single most powerful way to gain a competitive edge. For a leading Georgian bank with significant initiatives and unprecedented banking products up its sleeve early on, rapid short-term growth at the crossroads of East and West could have been easy. But Bank of Georgia took the high road, emerging as a regional leader among the top digital banks in the world. Such is the lead of the story on Bank of Georgia, which has been featured by TechCrunch Brand Studio. Gachechiladze conducted his interview with the CEO of BOG before all these changes in ministers and business ombudsmen took place. However, the CEO of the leading Georgian bank seems to be satisfied with the economic growth recent figures. Am I right, Georgi? And thank you for joining me today at the Checkpoints.
Hi, Elena. Always pleasure to co-host with you any show presented by BMG or Forbes Georgia, especially the Checkpoints, which definitely is our mutual baby media project. Thank you for being so much supportive to the only English business media show in Georgia. Yes, you're absolutely right. Archil Gachechiladze visited Forbes Georgia studio a while ago. Our viewers and followers had a chance to watch his exclusive interview in Georgian yesterday via Forbes Talks, but for sure he was generous enough to talk with the Checkpoints as well.
2021 was definitely much better than we expected. We expected high single-digit growth, and it turned out to be more than 10%. It was a bit high inflation, but overall it was a year of small and medium businesses waking up, customers feeling a bit more assured. So the consumer borrowing was pretty strong. So overall, it was definitely a year of recovery, and the recovery happened a bit better than we expected originally.
But recovery in regards of SME, definitely, yeah.
Definitely, small and medium was the driver of the economic recovery. We also saw consumer feeling a bit more reassured. Part of the economy where we still believe that recovery needs to be seen is these small and medium hotels, especially in Tbilisi, because in the regions there was still internal tourism that more or less provided some income, but the medium small hotels basically in Tbilisi still are having a hard time, and hopefully in 2022 that we should see awakening there. Besides this, something that we are very happy about as a whole team of 7,000 people is the Net Promoter Score. So basically our customers demonstrating that they are happier with our product than in the past, and here we saw going from NPS of 27% 4 years ago to 55%, which is a kind of a very quick growth. And our partner, which is Medallia, which is we are using them as a supplier of software and capabilities to learn what our customers want. They're worldwide best in that. They said that they've never seen such a huge growth.
7% 4 years ago?
27.
27, sorry.
To 55.
255.
And each percentage point is a big achievement. So going from 27 in 2017 to 55 just recently is huge. So Medallia is doing a worldwide case on us, in fact, which is very nice. So that is something which takes a cultural change within the organization for all of our employees to understand that customer is very important.
Taking into consideration tourism statistics we got just a few days ago,
Yep.
We're going to have the same strong growth in 2022. We really need your predictions in this regards as well.
Well,
or at least we hope.
You know, like economists says, all things being equal. So if we don't have a geopolitical crisis, which I hope we will not have, and will be resolved peacefully, and pandemic ends, which is something that I believe Omicron will do, I think we'll have more than we currently expect. So January tourism numbers show that people are really waiting to travel the moment it's open. So I think Georgia will benefit disproportionately.
It's 920,000 unique users through your mobile application and 1.6 million in general. December figures, am I right?
Yes.
Okay, so there is another source of gain, let me say so, for your users, and it's absolutely unique application. You launched just a few weeks ago, at least a few weeks ago personally for me, while I was interviewing your team members, Gachechiladze and Gachechiladze. Tell me about this opportunity, while for any citizen, any customer of Bank of Georgia, who by the way in 5 minutes may become trader, a customer, and having your personal account through your web. So it's done, Archil. What kind of opportunity it creates for us?
So what the worldwide trend is clear that retail investors want to have access, low cost access to owning different shares in global companies. And I think in Georgia we didn't have that product. We did have Galt & Taggart provided Trader, which is a separate app, but it was more tailored for technically savvy investors. This is more of a retail product, so not only is low cost, it's very easy, user interface-wise, very easy, but also it provides fractional trading. So you can, instead of, let's say, investing $200,000 for a particular share, and some of the shares are very, very expensive, you can buy 1/100 of the shares. So you basically buy for $10, or you buy for $15, you buy for $20. So you buy for a small amount of money, fraction of the shares that are being offered there. Not all shares are offered there, but all the major corporations are. So basically that provides a low-cost, retail-oriented ability to a window to an investment world, which in this case is US, and Europe will be added just in a couple of months.
Mm-hmm. So, and my final question goes back to the Georgian economy. Your predictions for 2022 is clear. You excluded some geopolitical and some other risks in regards of high dollarization, which remains the main challenge for us. We face Archil a stable last approximately 5-6 months, stable exchange rate for the Lari. Where do you see the reasons of this stability, and how do you see in this regards 2022?
I think it overall has been a full year, with small volatility, but it's fine even from the beginning. The full year has been a refresher when we look over the last, let's say, 4 or 5 years of relative instability. So it's welcome news to our investors. Going forward, overall, I think the focus has been on de-dollarizing the deposits, as well as loans, but now the focus has been, a lot of focus been made on deposits, and I think that that strategy will long-term serve Georgia very well and should support the stability of Lari. So that should create an environment where people feel safer when they save in Lari. especially given the interest rate differential, which has been
Almost
incentivized
10%,
by
yeah.
the regulation between dollars and Lari. So it's like 10%, which is unprecedented. It used to be 4 and 5. So Lari became more attractive for saving, and that should long-term serve the country very well and de-risk the dollarization with minimal effect on the currency exchange.
Thank you so much and good luck.
Yes, and for sure, I'm preparing for interviews with other business leaders of Georgia and will deliver all the news and updates ASAP. Before that, good luck to you and our followers. I wish you good health, and I know that we have some other interesting comments about Georgian Lari and its last period of threatening. My warmest regards to ICC and Habibi Fady.
Thank you, Georgi, for your motivation and your involvement in the checkpoints. I will say goodbye to you for today and continue from where we left off. This last point of the CEO of BOG is very important, Lari and its strengthening trajectory. Irakli Kovzanadze, chairman of the Budget and Finance Committee, named several factors which have an impact on the strengthening of the national currency, including rapid economic recovery, tightened monetary policy rate, reduced money supply, as well as a sharp increase in exports and remittances. Lari exchange rate keeps a strengthening trend, but its steadiness is not the result of an instant occasion or one-time action, Kovzanadze said. Several circumstances created the basis for Lari's strengthening: double-digit economic growth, which stands at 10.6%, and BG's tightened monetary policy from 8% to 10.5%, reduced money supply by over 700 million Lari in January, and sharp increase in remittances and export growth. According to Kovzanadze, since the level of dollarization is high in Georgia and the economy is greatly dependent on imports, depreciation of Lari is directly transmitted to the prices, which is reflected in inflation. Accordingly, Lari strengthening in turn will have a positive effect on inflation reduction. As an economist and financier, I want to note that from a long-term macroeconomic point of view, the value of Lari strengthening is higher than its impact on inflation, said the chairman of the Budget and Finance Committee. Current appreciation trend of Lari, however, raises some questions not only in the local but foreign business community as well. And Fady Asly, CEO of the International Chamber of Commerce of Georgia, summed up all of them in one interview. Investments, and namely FDI, was another big topic that we have discussed in this sit-down interview with the CEO of ICC Georgia. I read your Facebook post where you wrote that you could not really understand the current trend of Lari's strengthening. What we hear from the experts is that this strengthening is mainly driven by the three forces. One is dollar being depreciating globally, Georgia's exports increasing, trade figures generally, and also remittances. Why do you think that these fundamentals are not sufficient for this tendency?
You know, I use my logic more than I use the figures. I want to compare 2020 or 2021 or 2022 to 2019, which was the last normal year before the pandemic. In 2019, the Lari was devaluing. That was the trend. At a time, the economy was much stronger than it is now in 2021. If you look at the figures of 2021, you see that from the tourism we got like 1/3 of what we had in 2019. If I'm not mistaken, it's about 1/3. This means we are missing $2 billion compared to 2019. Foreign investment is totally inexistent. Exports have increased, but imports have increased even more. So if you look and you make like a small arithmetic, not even mathematical account, arithmetic, you realize that there is no explanation why the Lari should strengthen to that extent. In addition to that, we have chronic political instability. We have external political instability. So when I look at the picture like this, it doesn't make sense to me from the macroeconomic angle how the Lari can strengthen to that extent unless there are dollars being injected in the economy that we don't know about. Now, to go back to the foreign remittances, they have increased because people need money. I mean, most families have people who are living abroad who send them money. And because of the hardship due to the pandemic, people abroad, Georgians abroad, are sending more money. In addition to that, more Georgians have left Georgia in the past 2 years, so they are sending more money. Now the remittances are like about 2.5 billion or something like this. This means that they have increased by 1 billion compared to 2019, because it was about 1.3 billion in 2019. This $1 billion does not justify the strengthening of the Lari since the 15th of November at this speed. This means that there is something going on with the Lari that goes beyond my understanding as a businessman and as someone who looks into those figures. So I cannot explain it with the parameters that we have in hand. Only the National Bank knows the truth, but honestly I don't believe that they are telling what's going on.
You also said that you feared that these gymnastics with Lari, as you called it, would backfire. What do you mean more precisely?
Yes, it will backfire because, you know, there is something called the pendulum effect. If, you know, in those old clocks, you have a pendulum of the clock that goes left and right. When you take the pendulum and you hold it artificially to one extreme and then you release it, it doesn't stop in the middle, it goes to the other extreme. So I believe, my personal opinion, is that the Lari will devalue very quickly at one stage. This means that now people want to keep their money in Lari and because they feel that the Lari is strengthening, but this is a very dangerous game. And one morning we can wake up and realize that the Lari became 3 and 3.5, like this, because there are no economic parameters that I see that can explain the strengthening at the Lari. At a time, if you remember, for the past 8 years, every time the Lari devalued, the government said yes, because our trading partners' currencies is devaluing. Our main trading partner's currency is devaluing. That's why we are devaluing. Well, today the Turkish lira is devaluing and the ruble is devaluing. Why is the Lari strengthening? I'm following their own logic, if I have to follow. Why before, when it was devaluing, we were linked to the devaluation of the trading partners, and now they are devaluing and we are strengthening? There's something that does not make sense in all this.
Do you eliminate the spillover effect that the tightened monetary policy could have also on Lari strengthening?
Everything has an effect, but not to that extent. This means the strengthening of the Lari from 3.2 to 2.9 in the span of 2 months goes beyond the tightening of any policy. The tightening of the economic policy cannot have such an immediate effect on the strengthening of the Lari, okay? To make it very simple, there are a lot of dollars entering in the economy, but we don't see them, okay? This means that probably the banks are selling a lot of dollars and buying a lot of Laris, okay? This can be something that we don't see in the economy because it's not accounted for. The National Bank would know this. This means if the banks are selling their own reserve, the private banks, and buying Laris, this would strengthen the Lari, you see? So why are the banks doing this? I don't know. And also, I mean, we have to understand that the strengthening of the Lari or the devaluation of the Lari to strong extremes is very bad for the economy. Because if you look at our exports for the past year, the exports were increasing steadily. When you strengthen your Lari, you become less competitive. Exporters will be suffering now. They will be less competitive to export their goods.
In this current situation and considering the pandemic, would you say that strengthened Lari is helping to the more certainty for doing business in Georgia? What does your experience of doing business logic tell you?
So what we need is stability of the currency. We don't need the Lari to devalue 30% overnight or to strengthen 30% overnight. We need a stable currency so importers can build on it, exporters can build on it, and people get used to it. So there will be no problem with the inflation, okay, and no handicaps for the exporters. Now, the only factor that is positive for the government when the Lari strengthens is the ratio of debt to GDP decreases. You know, we were like 61%. Because the Lari was at 3.3. Now, when the Lari is at 2.9, then they're maybe at 50. I don't want to throw a figure like this, but they are definitely lower than 60%. Now, if the government has a goal to borrow more money because the ratio went down, now is the perfect time for them. So I'm wondering to myself, is it a game that the government is kind of playing to borrow more money because the ratio has gone down based on what the IMF has? I don't know. There is something abnormal. That's a fact. The rate, such a strengthening in such a short time is abnormal. It does not make sense when you look at all the economic parameters that we have in hand.
You mentioned that FDI is practically non-existent in Georgia. I would agree this is the weakest point of these fundamentals that we're talking about when talking about Lari strengthening. I don't know if you're following currently, but US ambassador has been very vocal about the foreign direct investment and also bringing the example of Anaklia.
After visiting Poti, I went up to Anaklia to take a look at the site there, and it just broke my heart because, of course, this year there are supposed to be ships going in and out of that port. It's supposed to be open for business. This year had the project continued as planned, and I think it's a real missed opportunity.
Do you think that Georgia is facing missed opportunities?
Look, Georgia has a lot of potential for foreign direct investment, a lot. I mean, in my opinion, if there was a sound policy from the government to encourage foreign investment, we could easily have $4 to $5 billion a year. If there was a sound policy and if the government was investor-friendly, foreign investor-friendly. You know, it's not subject to debate anymore. The government doesn't want FDI. The government doesn't want foreign investors. They want foreign investors maybe coming from Australia, New Zealand, and Western Europe, with the limit being the city of Marseille in France. They don't want any foreign investor south of the city of Marseille. The government has xenophobic policies regarding foreign investment. It's obvious, I mean. That's why I don't want to debate FDI. Every time we say the government should do this, the government should change policy. As long as this government is in power with this vision regarding foreigners, there will never be FDI in Georgia. I mean, many times we have spoken about it. The government has done its best to screw foreign investors, whether by canceling their residencies, confiscating the residencies, refusing to give them residencies after they did their investments here, defrauding them in the courts, protecting the Georgians, I mean helping the Georgians who screwed foreign investors in the courts. All the policy of the government has been to undermine foreign investment in Georgia. Everything. From the day Bidzina Ivanishvili came to power, this has been his line. He doesn't want foreign investors in Georgia. So we have two speeches. We have the speech of the government that says we want foreign investors. which is total bullshit. And then you have the security services who are doing their best to scare off foreign investors. And that's why we don't have. Today, if you look at the figures, the first 3 quarters of 2021, we have $730 million of foreign direct investments. 85% of it is reinvestment. This means that companies that operate here since years, most of them are Georgian companies that are registered abroad, most of them. And then you have 4% that is debt, foreign debt that we borrowed, like from, I don't know, Citibank or from BNP Paribas, okay, companies here like Wissol or someone else. And then you have equity investment, which is the real foreign investment. This means maybe not the real, because probably it's some Georgian companies registered in some fiscal paradise somewhere, okay? Okay, so we don't have foreigners, we have very few foreigners coming here, and those who are coming, you know, they buy an apartment or something like this. It doesn't really move the economy that much. If you look at the figures of 2021, and you look at the greenfield foreign investment in general worldwide, compared to 2019, there was a decrease of 30% worldwide in greenfield foreign direct investment. In Georgia, the decrease was of 80%. So it's way more than the average. And Georgia is one of the countries where the greenfield foreign investment was the most decreased in the world. It ranks like among the last 7-8 countries. All this is because the government doesn't want FDI. So let's stop anymore trying even to speak about it, because as long as this government is going to be in power, there will not be foreign investment in Georgia. And the problem is that even if the government changes, we have a new government, or even if the government changes policy, and then they say, no, 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 let's open it for everyone, it will take 4 or 5 years to regain some credibility.
What does your personal experience of doing business tell you?
You know, I deal with FDI. I mean, you know, I have a consultancy firm based in Dubai, and we bring investors to the whole region here and to Africa and everywhere. And when we speak to them about Georgia, everyone says, no, 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 no Georgia, okay? When we speak to them about Albania, they say, no, 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 no Albania, okay? Bosnia, mainly. No Bosnia, no Georgia. Those are the 2 countries that they don't want to touch, because those 2 countries screwed foreign investors in the past. Bosnia, by increasing the taxes, at a time they had promised that the taxes will not move, so all those who invested there got screwed. And Georgia, because they screwed every foreign investor who came here. So no one wants to touch.
You talked about the xenophobic attitudes of the government to certain investors. U.S. Ambassador mentioned U.S. helping Georgia with the critical infrastructure of investor screening mechanism.
We and others have been working with Georgia on developing a critical infrastructure investor screening mechanism, like CFIUS, but something that would be appropriate for Georgia, to make sure that Georgia knows who is investing in its critical infrastructure, who is owning it. And there's layers and layers before you can really sort out who's got a piece of some of the main infrastructure here that is not only potentially vulnerable, but that is then critical to this idea of an East-West hub.
Do you think that could be one direction that could help eliminate what you were talking about?
Look, everything that's being done could help, but the issue is to have investors coming in, you see. Who can protect them? Do you think that the US Embassy can protect an American investor here? Look what happened to Anaklia. The US Embassy was able to, I mean, this was an American, mainly American investment. They couldn't. No one can protect foreign investors here. That's why I don't bring foreign investors to Georgia, because I cannot protect them. This means if they have a problem and they came under my responsibility, I cannot solve their problem. So all this are kind of carrots that the US government is showing the government, trying to entice them, but they don't want. Bidzina Ivanishvili does not want foreign investors here. It's as simple as that.
If ICC is the largest foreign business association here in Georgia, BAG is definitely the largest local business association. The Business Association of Georgia also responded to the strengthening of the Lari exchange rate. The Georgian Business Association welcomes the process of strengthening the national currency. We would like to emphasize that the strengthening of Lari and its further stability is an important process for the business sector, as well as with our deep conviction for our country and its citizens, BAG said in a statement. According to the results of all other types of research conducted by BAG Index or the association, depreciation and volatility of the Lari have been considered as one of the hindering factors for the business activity. It had a very negative effect on the financial condition of the companies, hindered their growth and development, and through the financial statements of the companies in a difficult and unattractive situation, BAG believes. As the BAG says, they hope that this challenge, which the business sector has been facing for quite a long time, will be overcome and the current dynamics of Lari strengthening will continue. It is clear to everyone that strengthening of Lari exchange rate and its further stability will lead to the improvement of all macroeconomic parameters, including helping to curb inflation, BAG stated. Moreover, BAG believes that strengthening of Lari and stability of the exchange rate will have a positive impact on the purchasing power of the consumers, and it will also create positive attitudes in economic agents, which in turn will increase economic activity. One interesting highlight of the statement is that according to the Georgian Business Association, Lari exchange rate is not a determinant of the country's competitiveness in the reality of Georgia, and its depreciation and instability create a heavy burden on business and consequently the economy. Depreciation of Lari and its instability naturally had a negative impact, as well as the attraction of local and foreign investments. Against the background of maintaining the dynamics achieved today, BAG believes Georgia will definitely get activation from foreign investors. We hope that the positive sentiments caused by the strengthening of the Lari in business will continue. We call on the government of Georgia and the National Bank of Georgia to use all the tools at their disposal, which will make it possible to ensure the irreversibility of the situation without a sharp deterioration in external factors in the context of a consistent, purposeful economic and monetary policy within the country. We fully believe in maintaining the strength and stability of Lari, BAG's statement reads. On Friday, in the Business Morning Analytics, the Vice President of the National Bank of Georgia, Archil said that it depends on business how it assesses the current Lari performance. Part of the business community, mainly importers, might benefit from strengthened Lari, and on the contrary, exporters might face some challenges exactly because of the appreciation. Our main focus is on inflation, Mr. Virishvili maintained. When shall the NBG be able to consider easing the monetary policy? Asked the checkpoints.
We have tightened monetary policy to avoid second round effect, which is driven by world commodity prices. So we observe very closely inflation expectation and price development. And once we will see that inflation expectations are moderating, it will allow us to gradually start easing from tight monetary policy. But it's very difficult to say when it will happen. It's a committee decision, and the next meeting we will have by the 30th of March, and by that time we will analyze all accessible information and we'll make decision based on that data.
The average interest rate on business loans issued in national currency insignificantly increased in fourth quarter 21, according to the NBG statistics. According to the report, the rate hike was mainly driven by a 0.5 percentage point increase in the monetary policy rate by the National Bank to 10.5%. In December, compared to September, the interest rate on large business loans issued in national currency within the month increased slightly and amounted to 13 14.9%. For small and medium-sized business loans, the interest rate for loans denominated in national currencies increased slightly to 13.9%. Interest rates did not change significantly in Euro and USD, respectively, reaching 5.2% and 6.5%. According to the Credit Conditions Survey, the margin on Lari loans with fixed rate increased slightly. As of the respondents, a significant change in the interest rates is not expected in the next quarter, the National Bank said in a report. New investments and especially new players on the markets is always a focus of the checkpoints. Today, we will be introducing the new profile of Ivo Chikonia, CEO of Distributors Business Association. He's a farmer. What type of farmer? Here is our story about what's made in Georgia.
The only unique place in Georgia with a subtropical zone is Gachechiladze. Today we're on a unique plantation where 3 species of lettuce are sown. These are iceberg, lettuce romano, and Lola rosa. The project is currently based on 3 hectares and employs about 40 people. Plans for the future are to expand to 10 hectares where more than 100 locals will be employed. I think this is very important for our country's economic development. On the front, we have planted icebergs and lettuce on half-hectare land. They are quite similar to cabbage. Each weighs 500 to 600 grams on average and is distinguished by special taste qualities. Cutting is one of the most important processes in how long you can extend the life of a vegetable. This unique variety, Lola rosa, is sown from 200 to 300 square meters and is mainly used for decorations. The weight is quite small, somewhere between 200 and 300 grams. The box can hold up to 7 kilograms depending on volume. Unfortunately, there is no high demand for this crop in the Georgian market, but in the future we will definitely work on the high demand for lettuce as a food product and not as a decoration. From what we see here, 80 to 85% is exported. We supply McDonald's from one of the countries. In the near future, we will start export negotiations with the United Arab Emirates. We also plan to prepare for agritourism. A hotel is being built on 1.5 hectares. We will give priority to eco cottages. Those who wish to come will be able to fish. There is a lake on 1/2 hectare, and there are different species of fish. A canal runs through this lake, irrigating the entire field. We have the opportunity to have 3 artesian wells. This water is tested. With this water, the products are irrigated. We meet all the standards. In the near future, we will receive the international certificate Global Gap.
Good luck to Ivo Chikonia in his new endeavors, and that's basically all for today. We will meet on Sunday at the same time, the same team, the same studio. Before that, don't forget to follow us on bm.g and forbes.g. Take care.
The Checkpoint is presented by GM Pharma, the first international multinational pharmaceutical company in Georgia. GM Pharma, to serve those who need it most.